I am Shyam Manthana. Welcome you to Nyaya Prasadam, the true source of explanation for legal aspects for students and job seekers. In this session, I am going to talk about mischief rule of interpretation, its meaning, method of interpretation, advantages and disadvantages. Let's see what really mischief is. I'm sure all of you are excited about it. So, primarily, mischief rule of interpretation is a methodology to interpret the real meaning of lawmakers' intention on making a particular law. So mischief rule of interpretation primarily identifies the purpose of the law and where it need to be applied, how it need to be applied, the details of law and how it is to be assigned. So this is basically a methodology to understand the actual intentions of the legislatures who actually make the law. Wherever legislatures are the people who make the law. So the legislature's intention is interpreted using a methodology, and such methodology is called as mischief law of interpretation. So my objective of making this session or these videos is to ensure you understand the concept and get the whole concept on your fingertips and will be able to recollect as and when it is required with great ease. So my way of doing it is I somehow connect concepts with the real life and then often see a funny situations. Therefore, I end up connecting things and therefore remember them for a long time. Or probably I won't forget it. So when I was trying to make a synonym for it, for mischief law of interpretation, which will interpret legislature's intention, I made a short word. Mischief is interpreting leg's intention. Well, it sounds funny, I know. So, but however, I repeat, mischief is interpreting leg's intention, where I connected leg as the something which is a PowerPoint or a legislator. So the legislators are the lawmakers, therefore they are PowerPoints. So while making this, I happened to see something which has been making rounds nowadays on internet. Let me show you what really mischief is. This is mischief. This is mischief. Now, if you agree this is mischief, I also tell you another thing that eventually, as every story end up with a similar conclusion where this lady, this beautiful lady, will become his wife, and then she will become the lawmaker for him. I'm sure she'll be lawmaker. So, well, don't laugh anymore now. So let's get into the subject. So actually the word interpretation is again derived from two Latin words. The first one is second one is pretari, which means explain or expand. So basic interpretation is expanding or explaining the concept. So this particular law, mischief's law of interpretation, how does this will interpret? So interpretation methodology is pretty straightforward and simple. What is the common law before making that act? Because legislature actually make a new law, and only after making a new law, this mischief rule of interpretation will try to interpret it. So the interpretation mechanism starts, or the methodology starts with the first point. What is the common law before making that particular new act or new law? The second thing is, what was the mischief or defect for which the common law did not provide or did not address? That's the second point they look into it. The third point is, what remedy Parliament have had resolved and appointed to cure the disease of the Commonwealth. So what is the point, or what is the remedy that Parliament had resolved by giving this new law? And the fourth one is, what is the true reason of the remedy? Or these four factors will be used to interpret any new law. Now I'm just trying to connect the new code or the mnemonic to understand this interpretation steps. Or I'm sure you must have remembered that old video I have shown. So the mischief thing. So I say mischief is past problem, proposal, purpose. So there must be some kind of past. You just remember past problem. He has some kind of past which he is giving this particular problem where he did this mischief and put a proposal with a particular purpose. So just trying to remember all those things. Mischief is past, problem, proposal, purpose. So it is done. The next thing is the advantages. Advantage of this particular method of interpretation. The advantages is it is the perfect way of interpreting acts as opposed to the golden or literal rules. The second advantage is it avoids unjust or absurd results in sentencing because enough analysis has already been done on the kind of various crimes or various wrongful acts, and appropriate punishment has been codified using this mechanism. So it will avoid unjust or absurd results in awarding punishment. So again, connecting again this to the same absurd mechanism, the same mischief mechanism says, so he thinks it is the better way to interpret and avoid absurd results. So let him choose his own lawmaker. Let's not worry about it. So he's trying to avoid the absurd results and interpret it in better way. Well, again, don't smile. Now let's see the disadvantages. Disadvantages are it is considered to be out of date. This mechanism, the mischief law of interpretation, is considered as out of date and gives too much of power to the unelected judiciary. So the judiciary can interpret in the way they wanted to have. So it's too much of power to them. And it can make the law very uncertain. So probably the interpretation goes wrong or wrongly interpreted somewhere. What happens is the intention of the lawmaker or the legislature, it can make the law very uncertain. These are the disadvantages. Therefore, again, trying to connect with the same old story, our hero story. So it says, mischief is out of date, too much of power to unelected judiciary, uncertain law. So just imagine, he got succeeded and got married this girl, and found that for some way it is out of date, and then she has got too much of power on him, and unelected judiciary, he has not elected that so much of power being awarded to her, and the loss she makes is absolutely uncertain. So mischief is, there's a disadvantages of this kind of mischief is out of date, too much of power to unelected judiciary, uncertain laws. So this is all about a mischief. I'm sure you enjoyed learning about mischief law of interpretation. Thank you.